We do begin, though, with breaking news, a rapid escalation in fighting between Israel and Hezbollah, a militant group based in Lebanon to Israel's north. Israel's military says 2 soldiers were killed by Hezbollah strikes in northern Israel, and the Israeli military started striking Hezbollah targets in Lebanon today, saying it has plans to do more in what it calls the northern arena. The Israeli strikes came just minutes before the leader of Hezbollah spoke for the first time since those deadly device explosions in Lebanon. He said that those explosions crossed a red line and could be called a declaration of war. The number of people killed by the exploding pagers and walkie-talkies continues to rise. Some video there. At least 37 people have died. Thousands more have been injured. So far, there are no reports of any new device explosions today. Joining me now, NBC News International correspondent Josh Lederman. Josh, there have been a lot of moving parts today, a lot to track. What else is the Israeli military saying about its strikes against Hezbollah in Lebanon today?
Well, Israel is confirming that its forces have been bombarding southern Lebanon, not only with airstrikes, Kate, but also with artillery. But importantly, a senior official told NBC News that Israeli troops are not crossing the border on the ground. In other words, this is not the start of a potential ground incursion into Lebanon that many have been fearing for quite some time. But in the last hour or so, we also heard from the Israeli defense minister in a briefing about what's happening on Israel's northern border, where he once again called this a new phase of the war. He said that in this phase there are opportunities for Israel, but also significant risks, and that the sequence of Israel's military actions will continue. So he seems to at least be suggesting that this could not be over. And in fact, if you listen to what Hassan Nasrallah, the leader of Hezbollah, said today, he also indicated that they think that the Israeli actions may not be finished. And so you take all of this together, and there is certainly a significant concern about the potential for further escalation in the coming hours and days. Kate.
Josh, thank you. Let me bring in NBC News national security and global affairs reporter Dan DeLuce. Dan, we mentioned before there have not been any new explosions of devices in Lebanon today that we know of. I know you just spoke with a former senior Israeli security official about those blasts. What did he tell you?
He's saying that those were basically targets of opportunity, that this was a, use it or lose it moment, as they put it. In other words, this was not a part of a larger strategic operation that was supposed to precede some kind of major ground and air assault on Lebanon, that there was a temporary window where they could use this capability they had, by tampering with these pagers, and they used it. So that is an interesting insight. That's also really the working assumption of Western governments, the U.S. government as well. And then just to echo what Josh is hearing here in Washington, the Biden administration does not at this moment believe that Israel is using those pager attacks and exploding walkie-talkies to launch some wider major offensive on Lebanon. But, obviously it's a fluid situation, and we don't know exactly how Hezbollah is going to respond after really a humiliating setback with these exploding communication systems that's just caught them completely by surprise.
Yeah. Dan, thank you. Josh, let me go back to you. We've been hearing from doctors treating people injured by those device explosions. One of the doctors described wounds that she had never seen before. What else are we hearing?
Well, Kate, NBC spoke with the chief medical officer of the American University in Beirut Hospital, a major medical center there, who said they've never seen this kind of pace of injuries. They've seen about 150 people coming in. They say that there are 12 operating rooms at that hospital. All 12 have been operating around the clock, essentially no separation where they don't have somebody undergoing surgery on their hands, on their eyes, on their face. They say that right now they have the supplies they need, but it is a very concerning and fluid situation.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app, or follow us on social media.